I thank you for coming, and hopefully today is going to help you with your strategic planning for 2015, which partially includes your evaluation of 2014. So we're going to make this down and dirty, no fancy presentations today, but simply going to do a summary. I'd like to encourage participation. If you guys want to participate, have questions, you want to help me fill this document out, then I would love for you to do so. You can do that just by simply chatting in the box on the right hand side. Everybody has been muted today just for sound quality for the overall video, but definitely encourage participation. If you're watching this at a future date, again, this is 2015, so if you're in 2018, things might have changed. However, there's some constants that we need to consider. Right now, you should be finalizing your 2014 annual reviews, and I don't just mean staff, I mean your entire performance review of your business, your financial plans, as well as your life. What does that look like? And should be hopefully wrapping up your 2015 strategic planning for implementation. So what we're going to do today is just simply go through and we're going to create a summary of all of the training that has been covered in 12-step roadmaps, achieve accelerated results sessions, and we're going to start with the beginning of the year and move forward. But I'm going to do this off the top of my head and put things in order. So first things first, more than anything, one of the things that we talked about was ensuring that you have clarity so that you can focus and that you have a clear execution strategy. Tony Jerry always says, without clarity, you cannot focus. Without focus, you cannot execute. Without execution, you will not win. So we're going to start off with those. The next thing I'm going to move into is thinking. All too often, people think that they can just simply change what they do or what they say and not how they think. Changing your thinking is a predecessor to changing what you're doing. Sometimes this is a difficult concept, but everything that you think drives you to take specific actions, whether it's fear, whether it's thinking that it's been pre-programmed from past experiences or from other people, whether it's negativity that's driving specific thoughts and so forth, or whether it's lack of information, lack of knowledge, and so forth. How you think or changing your thinking will absolutely change your results. And I put this at the very top because however you currently think today has gotten you the results that you have today. So if you want to get different results, you're going to have to change how you think. So we're just going to write change your thinking, change your results. This is huge. I don't even know how to really stress how big this is. If you realize that the majority of your thinking comes from your subconscious programs, and most of the time you don't spend trying to analyze why you think that way or where that program came from, or is that program or that thinking, that line of thought currently serving you well, if you don't start thinking about the why behind your thought process, you may have thinking patterns that are not serving you well today. And so really being more aware of your subconscious, more aware of how you think, the reason you have immediate. Sometimes you'll hear people say, well, that makes me mad. So the question is, why does that make you mad? Or I'm scared. Why are you scared? And do you have the ability, or I'm hurt, or whatever it is. You have to have the ability to think through your thinking patterns. And this is huge. Only when you change your thinking can you actually change your actions and your words. All right, so change your thinking, change your results. That's first and foremost. Of course, I could spend the entire hour on that, but I'm not going to. Next is going to be your product or service. And if it's only a service, you need to create a product. Unfortunately, services are a repetitive circle. So we're going to go back to clarity real quick, and we're going to add some areas that we need to create some clarity. So the first one is life. What do you want your life to look like? Do you have a clear picture of what your life looks like 10 years from now, or what you want it to look like? What's important to you? Is it freedom? Is it travel? Is it you're really busy being busy? Busy being. This is called the rocking chair syndrome. Simply put, always moving, never going anywhere. So really thinking about clarity in all of these, we'll say financial, family, health, and so forth. A lot of people refer to this or use a tool called results boarding or a vision board to try and help them create more clarity. So let's go ahead and write those down. Do you have a vision board or a results board that helps you gain clarity in each one of these? What do each one of these areas look like? I was doing a coaching call with someone, actually it was a dinner meeting at my house recently, and I asked them, I said, what is most important to you? Where do you spend most of your time? And their hands down, their question was the business, while they were sitting right next to their spouse. So you could see their spouse kind of sulk down and really agree that that's the only place that they spent their time was the business. That was all that was important to them. Whereas had they put more time into their relationship, so let me go ahead and just put relationships, because this is more than, this could be strategic partners, clients, family, friends, children, and so forth. While they spent all their time working on their business, what they didn't get is they didn't enlist their spouse in the project. Whereas had they have made their spouse or their family as important as the business, they actually could have ultimately helped the business. For lots of reasons, because you're removing the issues that are coming from family issues that may be happening in the house, because their family actually wanted to participate but felt that they were too much of a control freak to be able to help them. So if you create a vision board, or you're trying to gain clarity on what you want in life, and you don't include all of the necessary areas, you can burn one of these areas. For example, if all you do is work 24 hours a day, then you may be letting your health go down. If the only thing you're focused on is being busy, then maybe you're not taking the time to go after the freedom that you originally set off for when you were establishing your business, and so forth. So being very, very clear about what you want in life and creating a vision or a results board and painting that picture. Right now, each one of you should have a vision board or a results board that paints a picture of what does your life look like next year, at the end of 2015. You don't even have to go too far out, but what does it look like at the end of 2015? That's going to help you with this section up here, focus. So moving down, and we're going to bounce around a little bit here, but this all stems from changing your thinking. So I'm going to go ahead, and hopefully that was a good lesson, that it's almost impossible to have clarity unless you change your thinking first. All right, moving down, product or service. If it's only a service, you need to create a product. How are you productizing your business? So I'll give you some examples. Let's say that, well, here I'll give you an example. For our business, we are a service-based business, meaning that we have to continue to sell in order to continue to increase our revenue, and we have to sell a new product and do new work every single time we build a website or sign on an SEO program. It all takes resources. If you look at our P&L, our number one expense is staff. We've got a team of 35 currently, and it keeps growing. So as the business revenue grows, so does the staffing expense. So if you can imagine, you may be growing and grow to 5,000 new customers, but you also have a team of 100 that are supporting them, or 30 that are supporting them, and so your profit margins can only be adjusted by increasing your pricing, or so that's pretty much it, by increasing pricing, because a certain labor resource can only do a certain amount of work. Areas where you may see this as an issue: if you're an attorney, financial planner, realtor, and so forth. At some point, my guess is if you go back up to your vision board and you're looking at your life, and one of the things you wanted was freedom and travel, but the only way that you make money is if you're selling a particular service and you have to provide that service, then you're not creating that. So there's going to be an issue in execution, because you're not going to be able to achieve the goal of financial freedom as long as you're the one providing the work. All right. So in our business, we set a goal in our business that we were going to hit a specific financial goal, a buffer, where our monthly revenue was a certain percentage higher than our monthly expenses. And when we achieve that goal, which we have, that we would switch gears and we would develop or create a team of people that were dedicated to R&D, research and development, for product creation. And creating a product is a huge, not just one, but we're going to choose 3. One is going to be quick turn, quick cash. Another is going to be long-term, large volume, but over a long-term period of time, and so forth. And so that's a goal of ours. And then developing, what is that? So our entire team is participating in the R&D document. They're all submitting their ideas for products that they believe we could take to market. And they've got to do quite a bit of research to be able to present those different ideas to us. And we will invest in 3 this year. We'll invest in 3 products that we will commit to, and the people on our team who are participating in the product will have profit sharing in those. So just giving you an idea of something you could do in your own to enlist your team members, your staff, your strategic partners, and so forth in creating these products if you don't have them right now. HVAC is another example. HVAC, if you don't sell air conditioning installation or so forth, then you're not making new money. So maintenance programs. So also, let me just put in here, you have one-time sales, you have recurring revenue, and you have products, and you have services. So we could go into one-time sale that's a big ticket, one-time sale that's a small ticket, recurring revenue that's a small ticket but appeals to the masses, recurring revenue that's a big ticket but appeals to a small group of niche people. So these can break down even further when you're doing your business planning, but it's important to create a business model that affords you with some freedom from these recurring revenue type activities in addition to your one-time sales, and then figuring out what are the areas that are products, what are the areas that are services, how many of them are one-time versus recurring. All right, so let me move back. Next thing we're going to do is just a brand review. If you were to look at your overall brand or your branding, does it look homemade? Does it look like it was designed by a nephew or a niece or a friend or you yourself or a family member or a non-subject matter expert and so forth? So is it professional? And does it reflect the image that you want to portray for your business? A great way to do this is to pull up the top, and I don't mean the top competitors as in the guy across the street who also owns a construction company, but in your industry, look at the best of the best of the best. So often when we're building a website for ourselves, we're going to go look at Apple, or we're going to go look at Android, or we're going to go look at a major brand. Right now we're working on a project for a new retail company, an apparel manufacturer that specializes in fitness apparel. And I'm not going to compare it to the local shop that's down the street. What I'm going to compare it to is Nike and Adidas and other major retail brands, and I'm going to look at the best of the best of the best. So I may go look at Tiffany or Neiman's or Nordstrom and so forth. You've got to really be able to take a third-party view at your brand, and the visual appearance of your overall brand is critical to what others' perception is of your brand. If you can immediately look at your brand and move out of, especially if you created it yourself, that's the worst, but move out of the owner and having that emotional attachment to what you've gotten done, or that it took you a year to get it done, or that it took 6 months to build that ugly website, or whatever that is. Or that, you worked on that logo yourself and, it took hours and hours and your wife said it looked good, or whatever the situation is. You've got to move out of that emotional attachment and take a very third-party view. And the best way to do that is to pull up the best of the best of the best. While you may not be able to afford the functionality of the best of the best, you can absolutely afford, it's not that expensive to have a professional brand, especially when you work on improving your brand and the visual appearance of everything that you do. We work on this constantly. I remember when I used to do my own, I'm a speaker, so I used to do my own PowerPoint presentations, and the difference between me doing a PowerPoint presentation and my design team doing a PowerPoint presentation for me is drastic. But the perception of the audience is tremendous. When I started actually caring about every detail, whether it was a printed piece of material, whether it was my website, whether it was a PowerPoint presentation, or the intro to our 12-step roadmap session and so forth, that's when we started attracting definitely a higher level clientele, bigger accounts, and the type of customers that we sought out to. So you have to remember, you can only attract that which you are, not that which you want. So think about that. You can only attract that which you are, not that which you want. So if you want to attract something else, you have to change you first. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here, and you guys will have access to these notes. You can only attract. Okay, you can only attract that which you are, not that which you want. So if you want something different, you have to change you. That's where it stems from. All right, so brand. You got to do a brand review and figure out where are all the areas you can improve. And trust me, they're looking at everything. They're looking at your fan pages, your Facebook page, the ugly picture you have on your Twitter account, whatever that looks like, and start piecing together a professional brand. Let me go ahead and I'll give you some samples on here. So this may be website, print, social, presentations. I think we'll leave that for now. Actually, you know what? Video. Okay. All right, so let's move past branding, and this branding really, actually, let me just put a note in here. This is design. Okay. All right, next thing we're going to do is talk about foundations. So from a foundation standpoint, first we're going to start with your website. And this is going to be design, development. I'm going to say UI. What I mean is UI UX is user interface. All right. I could keep going on this. I'm just going to skip it because this is a basic review. So there's a lot more to that, but we'll go into just these elements here. So from a development standpoint, are you on a WordPress framework? Do you have a custom theme, or are you using a a pre-purchased theme that may come with issues. And we had to learn this the hard way. We used to use pre-purchased themes. You pay $60-$70 for a theme, and then you need a designer and a developer to edit it, modify the theme, and so forth. The unfortunate part is, and we get these notifications on websites that we just got one. I want to say it was Church Hope. We just got a notification from WordPress that basically said the entire Church Hope theme structure is damaged. They're no longer providing updates to it, and you got to get a new website. There's patches and a lot of work that has to be done in order, but they have some major security issues and some other things as well. So making sure that you have a custom theme and making sure that you have a plan. We call it a refresh plan, to have a new design / theme based on new technology every 24 months. So how are you incorporating it into your plan to make sure you always have the most current technology? Your website is your visual presentation to the world of who you are. Probably one of the most important assets and or liabilities that you have for your business. So making sure that you take into account, this is the most important thing that you have got to ensure is designed properly, developed properly, and that it's current. A few years ago, building a mobile responsive website didn't exist. So you've got to realize that the technology is changing rapidly, and you've got to stay on top of that as well. All right. Let's move out of website and let's go into the next priority, which should be SEO, search engine optimization. So let's break down SEO into, this is an ongoing effort on any business's plan, and you've got to realize this should be constantly changing. It's not a one and done. It's not a one-time project. It's not something that you pick a plan and then move on to. You need to constantly be re-evaluating and reinvesting in occupying and owning page 1, position 1 through 5 spots on Google. Essentially, consumers are doing their research and making their buying decisions a couple different ways. A, they're still referring business to friends, family, and colleagues, and so forth. B, they're going to Google and they're doing searches, maybe for the individual product or service, or they're asking questions, which is the research mode. And they're also, when they get a referral, they're going to Google and they're doing brand, product, or person searches to evaluate if they want to do business with you or even contact you before that referral takes place. And I tell you, this happens to us day in and day out. Yesterday, Barbie Decker with BarbieDecker.com sent a huge endorsement for our company on her Facebook account. And we probably generated a dozen referrals, and every single one of those referrals went and Googled us first. They Googled me as the CEO. They Googled our company, CI Web Group's name. They went and researched our products and services. And only then, even with a very, very strong endorsement and referral, only did they wind up doing business with us, because they needed to, or even engaging. I shouldn't say doing business with us because this was yesterday, even engaging in a conversation. So SEO breaks down into a handful of groups. So let's go through and let's start prioritizing these. The first group for SEO is going to be primary product and service searches. The second one is going to be brand and team member searches. The next one is going to be into product and service variations. I'm going to move this up, and we're going to put this as first. The first thing you want to do is protect your primary asset, which is your brand. That means if you get a referral, somebody refers you to Trinity Event Staffing, and somebody goes to Google and they Google Justin Atkinson or Trinity Event Staffing, that instantly you own the first page of Google. There's no question that they're a quality company or which one is their account and so forth. So I'm also going to say brand reviews. And I'll give you an example. If you go to Google and you go CI Web Group reviews. So if you search for a brand review, you've got to make sure that you also occupy very good listing space for the phrase reviews, because it is something that people are looking at. Think about when you're buying products online. Did you ever go Google Sony LED 75-inch TV screen review, and you put in a model number or whatnot? You've got to make sure you've got really, really good representation and display of brand reviews. And so it may be your company name, it may be specific products or services or brands that you have. If you're a speaker, it may be for yourself. It may be Jennifer Bagley speaker reviews. All right, so just some examples. Then primary product search. Next, product and service variations. So let me just give you, I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to insert a quick table here, and I want to show you some examples. Let's see here. So we're going to have primary, we're going to have a variation, we're going to have location. So a primary search may be web design. A secondary may be marina and port. And I may or may not have a location on here. Let's say Seattle. Here's an example. Another one may be air conditioning. Actually, air conditioner. Now this is very interesting. You've got to really, really work with your team to do research on these, because the word in California, for example, on the West Coast, air conditioner has much higher searches than air conditioning. Whereas if you go to New York, they're going to be using AC, and they use furnace, or they use boiler in New Jersey, so instead of heater. So you really have to, by location, I may say for one particular location that it's this primary and this variation. However, when you really start doing the research, you may figure out that it's a totally different search phrase just because it's in a different part of the country or world. So air conditioner variations would be repair, service, maintenance, let's see here, installation, and so forth. And it may be all of your locations. It may be Dallas, Plano, Frisco, DFW, Allen, and so forth. So all of these different variations require different level of effort. Air conditioning repair, Dallas. Air conditioner repair, Plano. Air conditioner repair, Frisco. Air conditioner repair, DFW, and so forth. And then you're going into air conditioner service, Dallas. Air conditioner service, Plano. Every one of these searches has a different consumer that's searching because they have a different problem. So you've got to figure out what is their problem. Now, so these are product and services. These are your product and service, so that means primary. These are your variations here, and we're going to say product and service locations. And there's your examples of what this might look like. In a spreadsheet, this gets very complex. Obviously, you can wind up with hundreds and hundreds of different variations. Is it worth it? You tell me. If you own page one, position one search, say you're paying $100 a month for 3 different primary / variations and one location, and you own a position one listing or a position 1 through 3 listing for that particular search. If you get X number of phone calls or you get the X number of opportunities, to me, SEO is one of the greatest ways to evaluate ROI. Of course, you have to have the emotional stability to get through the risk of Google changes and SEO drops and fluctuations in your ranking, and continuing to work and maintain those positions and continuing to build and fight against those major search changes and new competitors doing different things to try and bump you off. But if you have the emotional stability to stick to it, and you have the stability to stick through the first 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, depending on if you have a geo-based search phrase, if you're working towards a population that's in the millions or hundreds of millions versus a population of 30,000 and so forth, or 5,000, that's going to greatly change how quickly you get there. So you want to make sure that you can get through that initial period until you hit page 1 listings. And then once you're there, you've got to maintain it and continue to add to it. All right, next. So we've got primary products and services. Here's your primaries. We have product and service variation. Here are your variations. And you have your locations. Only when you occupy multiple locations for the same primary is it going to be a lot easier to go for a global search phrase. So if you have a product or service that you don't have physical locations that you service and you want to go after a global search phrase, you've got to try and really narrow down some locals first, gain some page and rank and placement, and then move in. And I'll tell you guys, there are some industries and some variation searches and locations that we're able to gain a page 1 ranking in less than 48 hours. So it doesn't always mean that it's going to be a 6-month long drawn out process. It just depends on that key phrase. But you need to know how many pages are in the drawer that you're searching for. What's the competition look like? How many searches are there on a monthly basis? And is it a key phrase you want to go after? All right, next. I'm going to say FAQs. Now, worst thing that's usually done is FAQs are simply for a site reader, not for search. This is one thing you've got to make sure is done properly on your website. If you have one page on your website called FAQs, then you don't have a lot of search value from it. However, if you have a blog category called FAQs, and within it you have one post per FAQ, now you can put this into an SEO plan. I'm going to use this for an example. It's a horrible example, but it's a recent search we had to do. So on Christmas, our family dog died, and it was horrible day. But we came to the realization very quickly, we have to figure out, can we bury him or can we have him picked up? Who picks him up? So, we're going to Google and we're asking questions, and that's when you want to capture new prospects, is when they're in the question mode. So maybe they're asking, what does SARE count mean in an HVAC, or what's the difference between ductless and duct-in, or what are the benefits of ductless, or what are the costs, or what. So think about questions that people will need to identify. What are the questions? What's the difference? What is, how it works, benefits of, risks of, how much. So think about questions that may have some of these phrases in them. And the best thing to do is ask your customers, what kind of questions did they search for when they were looking for your product or service? Were they online? Did they do research? The cool part is everybody's human. So instead of acting like a salesperson or somebody just taking an order because you're talking to a new client who wants to buy something, have a conversation and tell them, we're working on our 2015 plans. And I'm curious, as a consumer, what kind of questions did you ask online? What kind of questions did you have for Google, or did you type in? Even if you didn't find our company, I'd love to know what you were searching for. And find this out. This is wildly, wildly important, more important than many other things we're going to add to this list. All right, so from an SEO standpoint, now, those are the primary areas you need to focus on in SEO, but let me just do... let's see here. Under SEO, this actually needs to be moved in. Hang on a second. Let me fix this for you. Okay, now let's go through from an SEO standpoint. We'll do that under G. What does SEO mean? And what does it give you? So first, you're tracking page rank versus traffic. If the only thing you're looking at is Google Analytics and you're looking at your traffic reports, oh my gosh, it's probably one of the worst indicators that you can focus on, because who's coming to your website? I'll tell you, in many, many instances, one of the biggest searches where people are coming to your website are actually salespeople trying to sell you search engine optimization. And they may not have SEO for their own company, but they're trying to sell you SEO. Maybe the people trying to sell Google placement, Google AdWords, other salespeople, and so forth. So you want to be careful using simply traffic as your KPI or your key performance indicator. Measuring where does your website rank for what people are searching for is going to bring you a higher quality customer and give you a little bit more control over who you're bringing in. The higher quality the client, the less expensive the transaction is, because there's not as much education necessary and so forth. All right, so one, tracking page rank versus traffic. Also, site errors. And this can be measured through Moz, Site Crawler, also through Google Webmaster. Your site is always going to have errors that come up. Maybe server errors, it may be page titles or permalink structures or descriptions that are tagged as duplicates or too long or missing and so forth. But you've got to keep your site errors down. Spelling errors, broken links, and so forth. Site errors are one of the worst things you can have going on from an SEO standpoint. So if you've got a great SEO team, then they're going to be working on site errors as much as they're working on the proactive things. And they need to constantly be fixing site errors that come up just simply out of working on your site, adding blog posts. The simplest activities on a website can create errors. And these are not visual errors to a consumer, they're errors in Google's algorithm evaluation of your website. Okay, so, and this also may be backlinks. So this is the evaluation of backlinks, people who are linking to your site. Who knows? We've had situations where competitors of our clients have went out and ordered thousands of backlinks for a customer. In fact, one of our clients had over 30,000 backlinks that were ordered by some third party to try and de-rank their website, to get them off the first page of Google. So going to bat with Google from an SEO standpoint is a battle, and you've got to constantly be fighting that fight. All right, then we have, so this is, we'll go into more of the proactive. So you have on-page SEO, which this is going to be titles, H1, 2, 3 tags, categories, descriptions, links, I should say permalinks, interior links. Let me fix titles. It's probably driving my anal people crazy. Okay, and so forth. Content, keyword usage, and density, and so forth. That's on-page SEO. All right, next thing we have is going to be off-page SEO, which is creation of third-party links to interior and exterior pages on your site. Credibility. All right, and also this is social equity / influence, which is why we will immediately move into social media. All right, so let me move back up here, and we're going to go into the clarity section. And right here, we are going to have long-term compounding results versus short-term, temporary. So from a clarity standpoint, as we're going through this, it's important to be able to identify what are the things you're investing in that have long-term and compounding results versus short-term and temporary results. So I'm going to help evaluate that. So SEO, long-term compounding results. Social media can be both. So let's go through that as well. All right. From a social media standpoint, let's start with the basics. The basics are people are going to be evaluating your social presence. Primarily, at this point in time, they're going to glance at Facebook to evaluate, do other people trust you, and are you available? So the basics are you've got to have a professionally designed Facebook page. You need to have substantial traction on likes. What I mean by that is, if I refer my friend to your site, they go glance at your site, very professionally designed, your website looks extremely nice, you look like a reputable company. Now I want to know, do other people like you? So I'm going to quickly go over to your Facebook page. I'm going to see, again, you've got a professional design, you have over 3,000 likes, and you have recent content. I'm in. I'm now moving forward with you. So from a conversion standpoint, you have to nail the basics. What I don't want to do is have you have a professionally designed site, or worse, a non-professionally designed site. Go glance at your Facebook account and see you have 30 likes, and the last time you posted content was 2 years ago, and it looks like you're out of business. Recent content. So those are the three things people are looking at. It's that simple. This is not going to generate you new business, but what it will do is protect the referral business that you get. So basics, professionally designed Facebook page, substantial traction on your likes, so it looks like other people like you, and recent content. You're alive, you're professional, and other people like you. That simple. You've got to address the perception challenge. Now, social media, of course, you could go into a huge training program, or we could talk about social media and all the things you could do with it for a very long time, but I want to just nail down the basics, because again, it's not about doing everything, it's about doing the right things really well, and then you can add more. So if you don't have those basics down, if this isn't done, then stop there and get that done. But next, if you already have that done, your Facebook page is professionally designed, you've got over a few thousand likes on it, you've got content being posted frequently. Perfect. Now let's move into the next, and we're gonna I'm gonna put on here compounding results. So this is going to be YouTube. I want to help. I really want to help prioritize video as being a major part of your business next year. These can be webinars like I'm doing right now. These can be professional videos if you're speaking, if you're presenting, if you have sales videos, FAQ videos, if you have testimonial videos, which is your reviews. Your video content can be leveraged for all of the things above. So this needs to be an important part of your plan. So one, do you have a welcome to website about us? Do you have testimonials? I'm only calling them testimonials because that's what you probably refer to them at. What you really want to call them is reviews, because that's what people are looking for. If you have a page on your site called testimonials, it doesn't help you. No one's going to go Google for your company testimonials. They're going to look for reviews because it's third party, and it's both. It's good and bad, and so forth. So you need to really leverage the fact that what people are looking for is reviews. All right, FAQ, training, product overviews, benefits, how-tos, and so forth. So video needs to become, the great part about video is it's permanent. It lasts forever. It can work for you while you do other things. So if you go back up to the clarity section on your document, if one of the things that was critical to you was freedom, then making sure that you replicate yourself, you duplicate yourself, and you allow that automation to work for you, it's going to create more freedom in your business. So I spend a minimum of 2 hours per week creating some type of video that can be used. These videos are used year over year over year. The longer they're out there, the more compounding results that they have. It's new content I can use on the site. It's new content I can use for SEO. It's new content I can use for social media. And the videos out there in the number 2 most searched or number 3 most searched platform there is in the world, which is YouTube and Google. So very, very important that you're using these. I'll give you just a quick sample without spending too much time on any one area. So this is one channel. We've got multiple channels, but on this channel, if you go through every one of these, so if I go to YouTube and I'm searching for Amana brand dealers, Amana is a huge, huge, huge brand. So if you're just looking for Amana brand dealers, you get all of our video. And you get the Amana website as well. But we definitely occupy a heck of a lot more space and have better optimization than their own brand. If you're looking for Marina Northwest NMTA, Northwest. Here, let me just, I don't know what to look for. NMTA conference. So if you look for NMTA conference, this is the Northwest Marine Trade Association. This is a big conference, and this is for the marina industry, which we play a pretty big role in. But if you Google for that, of course, you're going to get all of our videos. Great part is, even if you're doing a web search, so if I go to YouTube, or excuse me, if I go to Google, and we can look for the same thing. Let's see here. Amana brand dealers. So if I look for Amana brand dealers, the benefit of video is that not only do you get all of the search from Google, but you also directly under Amana, HAC, which is their major corporate website, you immediately get our videos as well, and our press release and so forth. So, and Amana is part of the Goodman Group. Goodman is obviously a huge international brand. So just giving you some ideas as far as how to leverage video and why I'm putting that before Twitter and before all the other things. It's going to play a much, much bigger role from an SEO standpoint in properly position you in front of the prospects or clientele that you want to be able to be found for. Let's go see NMTA conference. So I don't know if any of these have. Great. So these did pop up. We finally got them onto page 1. And that's when I say finally, this video was from November 27th. This was from December 3rd. So in less than 30 days, both of them are on page 1 of Google. And just a quick example for a review search. So video is powerful, man. You gotta, it's powerful. Compounding results. Multiple placement, you can leverage it across multiple assets and so forth. So I'm going to, if you have Facebook totally nailed and video totally nailed, then yes, we should be talking about how to leverage campaigning, how to leverage group searching and so forth on social media sites. If you don't have these two perfect, which I'm just scanning through all of the attendees today, then I'm going to say just slow your roll. And there's some automation you can set up with some of the other social media sites. However, you got to nail these two things. These two things will help you increase your conversions and also gain the freedom that you want in your business to generate new business while you're doing something else. My thought is that you're probably the best salesperson in your business. So let's go through. All right. Now, very next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to say tools. No, actually, let's go to CRM. So for a CRM, let me back up. This is not content, customer or contact relationship management system. Do you have web forms? Are the web forms feeding your CRM? Can you tag, sort, and message groups within your CRM? So let's say that you've had people over the years that have went to your website, they've filled out a specific web form. Let's use a marina, for example. Marina has 300 different slips available at their marina, and one of their slips is for a mega yacht. It's a 75-foot mega yacht slip, 50-foot, whatever it is. And they've had 60 people over the years request information on the 50-foot mega yacht or the 70-foot mega yacht slip for moorage. And they've had the tenant in there. The tenant's been in there for 5 years. All of a sudden, the tenant decides they're moving to Anchorage, and that slip becomes available. What you want is the ability to go into your CRM system. You want to be able to sort by all of the leads that previously inquired about a specific product or service. In this example, a 70-foot moorage slip for a mega yacht. And you want to be able to quickly send them all in one message. You want to quickly be able to send that group, because they're all tagged and categorized properly, a message that says, hey, you guys, you recently or you previously inquired about our 75-foot mega yacht slip. It's now become available. If any of you are interested, please let us know. So you need to get to the point where the data that you have surrounding leads and opportunities is as critical to you as the data that you have surrounding your customer data. A lot of times what I find out when I'm evaluating overall business structures is that people spend all their time tracking and properly categorizing and grouping their customer data, and sometimes not even that, but they don't spend the same time on the lead data. And lead data is critical for you being able to go back to prior prospects and be able to encourage them to show interest. And it may be in a new product or service. Don't forget, in your business, hopefully you're creating new products and services you can take to market. So being able to keep all of that data, those previous leads and opportunities, in some kind of format so that you can easily categorize and group them, it will allow you to take back products you may have not even thought about. Quick way to new business. And let's see here. Okay. So from a CRM system, this is a big deal. Can you tag, sort, categorize, and can you send group messages from there and so forth? All right. Let me just make a list of power tools, and I don't know if all of these apply to all of you, but I want to go through kind of just a short list of power tools, and these may also turn into other products and services. They may apply, they may not, but let's go through some power tools and look at what do you have access to. So your phone is first. Hopefully you have a phone that's totally connected with your YouTube channel, your social media accounts, your Facebook fan page, your website for blog publishing and posting. Are you completely leveraging your phone? Do you have apps on there that allow you to work faster, smarter, create to-do lists, and so forth? So I'm going to say and apps. So power tools, your phone, what are you doing with it? And I could say phone/tablet. All right, next one I'm going to put is CRM, as we've talked about. Next is online invoicing. And payments. So do you have a tool on your site that allows you to send an invoice online, allow somebody to make a partial payment, recurring payments, and so forth? If not, that's something that can easily be integrated into your website. And let me just make a note in here. At this point in your business, you need to start focusing on what are the operational efficiencies that can create more time. When you get to this portion, so let's say all of these things are perfect. And actually, let me go back, website design. Before we get into SEO, I'm going to add in here something that I missed. Content. Actually, let me fix this. Quality content. Pages, posts, video, etc. And then I'm going to say some for social, some for newsletters, email, and some for SEO. So all of these are different. I'm not even going to go into content, you guys. I'm sure if you've attended any of my trainings, you know that we can't do anything above without having content. That's why I skipped over it. All right, so we have to be looking for what are the operational efficiencies that can create more time. Again, if you've went through all of the things above, then you need to start focusing on there. Do you have private access for customers? So if you have forms, documents, training, information that you're currently having to email customers or send through email and so forth, creating private access for customers to be able to access. This might be help desk, ticket system, customer support, and so forth. You need to really take inventory of your business and figure out what are the operational areas of your business that may not be the most efficient, and what kind of technical tools can you put in place in order to be able to improve these. All right. So let's see here. I've got phone, CRM, online invoicing, private access for customers, membership system, affiliate module. No, I'm not even going to go there. Just forget it. Those are your basic things. So think strictly operational for now. Membership system would actually be the private access for your customers. So let's get rid of that and go back. Again, what I'm doing is I'm creating the list, prioritized list for you to evaluate. So if you already have everything done, then you're going to be on our advanced training. If you don't have everything on here perfect, then you just need to stick to this, and everything else, throw it out the window. All right. So let's move back here. And let's do a touch point on customer service and quality. So a huge piece, and you guys, we're almost at the hour, so I'm going to wrap up here in just a minute. Customer service and quality. Let's come back to that, and we'll start off with that next week. Strategic partnerships. Brain food. And what I mean is training and proper mentors. What are you feeding your brain? So training, what kind of information is going in? These should also be extremely important. So with 1 minute left, the last 3 areas I'm going to leave on here that should be extremely important to your evaluation and your business plans is going to be customer service and quality. We spend a tremendous amount of time focusing on improving and enhancing our performance, our work, our design, our quality, our customer service, our response times, our support times, how the perfection is of our sites, errors, omissions, everything. It's got to be important to you. It's got to be important to you. One of the number one sources of new business for our company is current customer referrals and current customers continuing to reinvest with us. And that did not happen in our business until we made customer service and quality a major priority of our foundation of our business. And until every single person had the same mentality and thinking and thought process on this, we were not able to accomplish that goal. Lastly, strategic partnerships and training and mentorships. These are the last two things we're going to leave on here. In a summary, there's a lot of other things I could put on here that are priorities. However, I want to make sure that these very basic fundamental marketing activities you have in place. If you have a list of other things you're doing, pay-per-click campaigns, ad campaigns, conferences, trade shows, whatever it is that you may be spending money on, just remember, these are your fundamental, foundational assets that you need to have perfectly in place in your business, and then we can start getting really creative. So in our business, we obviously continue to focus on these areas, but we're in the fun part where we're really getting pretty strategic with the things that we're doing, multiple websites, different products and services, and so forth, and different ways of marketing, power partnerships, taking strategic equity in certain companies, and so forth. So there's a lot of other things you can do, but these are the basics. With that, you guys, we are almost at a Happy New Year. I'd like to wish you and your family and your teams a very, very Happy New Year. May 2015 be 100 times more blessed than 2014 was in your business. I thank you so much for spending time with us today. You guys will have access to this document, so you don't have to take notes. We will publish a blog post. And let me show you where you're going to be able to access it. If you go to 12steproadmap.com, just go to webinars, and it's going to be under strategy, and we'll also put it under breakouts. So give us till the end of the day today, and you'll see it under strategy, and you'll also see it under breakouts, and you'll have access to the document. So if you click on breakouts, it will have a little information. We'll put up the video as soon as our video guy's done, and you'll have access to the homework. So it'll be a little button, just like read the blog post, and it'll take you right to this document. Make a copy of it, and you can use it for yourself. With that, you guys, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, and everything else across the world. We appreciate your time today, and I look forward to our next training, which will be in 2015. Thanks so much.